We are going to drain the swamp.
Well, it turns out that swamp is a lot deeper than even President Trump realized. A wonderfully detailed but extremely distressing report on how much federal workers are compensated was just published and has been getting tons of publicity. Thank goodness. Like this editorial in Investors Business Daily saying the Beltway swamp is really a lot more like an ocean than a swamp. One example, it costs taxpayers $1 million per minute to employ our federal government's bureaucrats. Joining me now is the author of the study, Adam Andrzejewski. He is CEO and founder of OpenTheBooks.com. By the way, are the books open? Did you have any trouble getting this information?
Well, David, we have fought to continue to open the books. The IRS wasn't that cooperative. They've actually redacted all 77,000 employee names from their file. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, they gave us the names but redacted the salaries on $125 billion worth of pension payments.
Wow.
Those pension payments for retired federal workers still aren't disclosed. They're not a part of the Freedom of Information Act. We're working to change that with Florida Congressman Ron DeSantis. We've got great legislation in there that the president should actually back.
It's our money. We should know how it's spent. Let's start with the salaries, by the way, because there's one fact alone, a factoid that blew me away. 29,852 federal workers make more than $190,823 a year. How many governors make that much? Zero. That's incredible. 30,000 federal employees make more than any governor in the United States.
And these employees are scattered all over the country. Right now, everybody watching the program can come to OpenTheBooks.com. We've got an interactive map of everybody, all 2 million federal bureaucrats, and we've mapped them by zip code. So you can see your little piece of the swamp anywhere across the country.
I love it. By the way, I went into the app and it works beautifully. Let's talk about benefits quickly, because the time off, we all struggle to get, maybe 3 or 4. Some people are lucky enough to get 4 weeks off. 8.5 weeks is what the total number of days off amount to, paid days off for government workers. It's more than what they get in France.
Well, I hope the president leads on civil service reform. Here's an easy way to save taxpayers $5 billion a year. Instead of 8.5 weeks paid time off, let's cut it back to 6 weeks paid time off. That saves taxpayers $5 billion.
Well, I'm wondering, the president's we talked about his agenda earlier in the show, and it's going to be tough because it's such a narrow margin he has in the Senate in 2018. But the OMB, can't individual members of the Trump administration, like Mick, the director of the OMB or some other office, just try to make, at the very least, make the public sector workers get the same salary as private sector workers doing the same thing?
Well, look, there's 35,000 lawyers across all the federal agencies. There's 3,500 part of the spin machine PR officers across the federal agencies. There's plenty of places to cut. One thing that drives taxpayers crazy is the $1.5 billion worth of bonuses that are given out each year. So all these agency heads and the president leading on this can bring forth civil service reform this year. Kimberly Strassel at the Wall Street Journal, she wrote a great column on Thursday saying that the president should lead on this, and we've got the data to back it all up.
By the way, when you're thinking about bonuses, just think of Lois Lerner. Remember that woman at the IRS who was working to discriminate against conservatives? She was getting bonuses. The whole time she was doing stuff that's not supposed to be done in terms of discriminating against a person for their political ideology. She was getting huge bonuses. So even if they're doing a bad job, they get a bonus.
And now she's out on a retirement pension. 2 Washington, D.C. think tanks estimated that pension, they were $50,000 apart on the estimate of her pension. We need to open those pension amounts to transparency, and that's why the Ron DeSantis bill is so important to bring the pension annuity payments subject to the Freedom of Information Act.
I don't usually do commercials on air to guess, but your website does a terrific service to the taxpayer. It's called OpenTheBooks.com. I encourage everybody to go in there and look at the work you've done. Congratulations. Very important work. Appreciate you coming on.
David, thank you very much for your interest in our work.
Absolutely.